Back in Pittsburgh, not the coldest day ever, but not the warmest either. A little bit overcast as we send it down to Evan Washburn. Evan.
Well, Greg, today's two head coaches have utilized the urgency of this game in different ways. For the Steelers, Mike Tomlin, he realizes he has a team with some inexperience in key positions, so it's been a more hands-on approach, setting the stage correctly, as he put it. For Kansas City and Andy Reid, it started 2 weeks ago. After his team lost 3 straight, he brought the group together and said, guys, it's time to let your personality hang out. Focus on your preparation, but go out there, have some fun, and Greg, they've responded.
Evan, thank you. Trent, as you get to this time of year, if you need a head coach to tell you to get up for a game like this, then you're really not going to go very far.
Yeah, you don't have the right guys in the locker room if that's the case. You don't need a head coach to give you that rah-rah speech. It should be, at this point in time of the season, very self-motivated and driven. I like the fact that Andy Reid came out and told the guys to loosen up a little bit, because you can, when you have an inexperienced team or an inexperienced team when it comes to the postseason, you know, you can get a little tight when that pressure starts turning up. It was a good response by him to his players.
The Pittsburgh Steelers won the toss, and they will receive, and Marcus Wheaton is deep and will take it on the run at the goal line. And will get tracked down back at the 15-yard line. So that is where the Pittsburgh offense will start. And what can you say about Ben Roethlisberger that hasn't already been said? Even by his lofty standards, having a terrific season, 29 touchdowns, 8 picks, 4,400 yards. He's been great, Trent.
He has been, and it's the offensive line you have to give the credit to. You and I talked about this the last couple of weeks, is how healthy he is at this time of the year. Normally, when you think about previous seasons, he's been taking so many shots, but the offensive line has done a tremendous job of keeping him upright.
And we asked Mike Tomlin, has he changed his style of playing? And Mike said, nope. The Steelers from the 15. They'll start with Le'Veon Bell. And Bell for 1.5 yards, maybe 2 on the Steeler offensive line. Right tackle Marcus Gilbert back and healthy after being out of the starting lineup the last 3 weeks. And one of the many potent weapons the Steelers showcase, you just saw him, running back Le'Veon Bell, the number 2 rusher in the NFL who has scored 10 touchdowns. 1-yard pickup makes it 2nd and 9.
The Steelers going to a little no huddle here, just getting up on the line of scrimmage, trying to catch the Chiefs not ready for.
Play clock down to 3. Roethlisberger will pop over in the middle. I think the crowd will tell you whenever Heath Miller gets his hands on the football. Up front for the Chiefs on defense, Allen Bailey is back. He was suffering from concussion symptoms last week. Number 50, Justin Houston, trying to find a way to get to Ben Roethlisberger today. His 17 sacks have him tied for the NFL lead. And some responsibility for harnessing the Pittsburgh aerial attack falls to the rookie cornerback out of Rice, 3rd-round draft pick Phillip Gaines. 3rd and 4. Roethlisberger going to go deep this side of the field, and he's got his man, Martavis Bryant, into Kansas City territory and out of bounds at the 35.
He's matched up one-on-one with Chris Owens in the slot. It's just a matter of matchups. The Chiefs decide to bring pressure, leaving him man-to-man across the board with a free safety in the middle of the field, and that was the matchup that Ben liked best, and he put it right on the money.
43-yard pickup and a 1st down for Pittsburgh at the Kansas City 35. On the end around, Martavis Bryant with a blocker in front of him. And down at close to the 25-yard line, depending on where they spot it, will determine whether it's a 1st down or not.
They're going back to the 3rd down. They're going to drop in pressure, and what they're going to do is they're going to get man-to-man across the board. You see the extra defender come inside, and that leaves man-to-man. They're trying to get some confusion, get the quick throw out of Ben Roethlisberger's hands, but it's picked up, and he's able to stretch the field.
On 2nd and 1, this is Bell, and Bell has the 1st down. I don't know if patience for a running back is an overused word or not, but it fits Bell perfectly, doesn't it?
Well, talk to both these coaches about the patience both of these running backs have, and Le'Veon's put together a tremendous season, second in the National Football League in rushing, but he does have that patience. A big play for the Steelers is the counter where the guard pulls. He sits there. Sometimes Le'Veon almost comes to a complete stop before starting back up, and it's that ability to start fast that allows him to be as special as he is.
First down now from the 24. Quick pass. That's complete. Antonio Brown, and Brown run out of bounds short of the 20-yard line. Jamel Fleming making the defensive play.
Well, and that's really supposed to be a run play. That's a built-in look for Ben Roethlisberger. If he sees things stacked up on the inside and he can take advantage with the quick throw, he goes ahead and does that. And really, the defense just dictates it. If they get the look you want, you hand it off, pick up the yards that way. If they stack it inside, you go to the outside, hit your one-on-one, and they were able to pick up some yards there to Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown not only leading the NFL in yardage, but setting records for the Pittsburgh franchise. New single season high. This is Bell breaking through. Left side, inside the 15. And appears to be another first down for the Steelers. Josh Maga, Kurt Coleman making the stop, but not before Bell got a first down.
And that was the counter that they so effectively show. I want you to watch DeCastro, the right guard.
Quick pass again to Antonio Brown, and Brown inside the 10 to about the 7, maybe the 6.5 yard line. That quick pass to the receiver is a lot like a running play, isn't it?
It is, and really you're giving the freedom to Ben Roethlisberger, and a lot of offenses do it. The Chiefs, you'll see the same thing when they're on offense. They'll have a run play called, but they'll also have a quick throw in place, so if they see that pressure look or see it stacked against the run, they can just get it to the outside.
Pittsburgh has managed just one opening drive touchdown all season long en route to that 9-5 record on the year. Bell to the 5. Hanging on for dear life was Jay Howard, number 96, the third-year defensive end out of Florida.
And Howard does a good job maintaining that backside because Le'Veon's trying to cut it all the way back. The run's supposed to go to the left side, and he winds it all the way back. You can see Howard maintaining that leverage on the backside and is able to get Le'Veon wrapped up around the leg and bring him down.
So the Steelers now looking at a 3rd and 2 for a first down. 5 yards for a touchdown.
Hey, heavy. That's the mic. Yeah, right.
Remember, Bell, a dangerous receiver out of the backfield. Roethlisberger throwing this side, incomplete at the feet of Antonio Brown. And Chris Owens covering on the play, and the field goal unit will come on. A little bit of a moral victory for the Kansas City defense.
Well, and the defense has done a good job in the red zone. They've been very productive at keeping teams out of the end zone. The defense is first in the National Football League in red zone efficiency. They've only allowed 23 touchdowns on the season. They held firm that time with the 3rd and 2.
From 23 yards out, Sean Swisham will look to give the Steelers the first points of the day. And he does. Opening drive, 3 points on the board. Steelers lead the Chiefs 3-0, 9:15 to play in the first. A Pittsburgh win today puts them into the postseason, and someone, not necessarily the team on the field, will be keeping an eye on what's happening in Houston, where the Ravens are trailing Houston by a 3-0 score. Ravens closest pursuer, 11-play, 80-yard drive for Roethlisberger and the Steelers, and the Swisham 23-yard field goal. Knile Davis is deep for Kansas City. Kansas City with the best return game in the NFL on kickoffs, averaging 28.9 yards, and this one's short. Davis. And Davis going to bring this one across the 25, and we get a penalty flag, our first of the day. Our referee is Ron Torbert this afternoon.
During the return, holding by the return team, number 51. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Kansas City's ball. First down. Timeout.
Frank Zombo's penalty will put a dent in that return. We'll take a break with 9:10 to play in the first quarter.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. And by Bank of America.
Nice look at the Pittsburgh skyline as the Chiefs get their hands on the ball on offense for the first time today. Jamaal Charles tries the right side, gets a little running room and spins across the 25 and very close to a first down at about the 28-yard line. Alex Smith is the Kansas City quarterback. 18 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions, and had an exceptional game last week against the Raiders as the Chiefs snapped a 3-game losing streak.
Well, and they finally got to the point where they were throwing the ball up the field. They were able to get some completion, some big chunks of yardage, and that's only going to open things up. It'll be interesting to watch Dwayne Bowe since he didn't have any practice time this week due to the flu.
Smith throwing, it's complete. DeAnthony Thomas, and Thomas diving for a first down on the near side, maybe a yard shy at the 37-yard line. The offensive line anchored by number 61, the center Rodney Hudson in his 4th year out of Florida State, and the offensive spark provided by simply one of the best backs in football, Jamaal Charles. His 14 touchdowns are the most in the National Football League. Second and short yardage. And the quick pass out to the side. That is complete to Albert Wilson, and Wilson has a first down and then some to the 45-yard line. A quick look at the Steelers' 3-4 defense. The rookie Stephon Tuitt out of Notre Dame playing well at defensive end. At linebacker, 12-year veteran James Harrison returns to the lineup after missing time with a knee injury. And in an injury-riddled secondary, cornerback William Gay has been superb. 3 interceptions, all 3 returned for touchdowns. That secondary does not have Troy Polamalu, who is sidelined today. First down. Alex Smith pulls it down, under pressure, can't get away, and goes down at the 39 or 40-yard line. Corralled there by James Harrison.
Well, I think you have to put some of that on Alex Smith. They're trying to push the ball up the field. He takes too long. He has a chance to get rid of the ball. Watch the pressures coming up there. You'll see Harrison from the outside, but that initial pressure comes from right up the middle over Lincolnbach, and Cameron Hayward gets that initial pressure, maybe a half a sack apiece, but there's a chance where Alex could have thrown that away and not taken the lost yardage.
Now 2nd and 16. Smith on the move and throws that one away. It'll be 3rd and 16.
And that's the pressure that the Steelers like to bring. They like to bring different combinations of pressure and overload one side. That time everybody's picked up initially, and when you have people picked up initially in the protection, you have to win your one-on-one matchups up the field, and nobody came open for Alex Smith, and he had to roll out and throw it away.
Dick LeBeau, defensive coordinator, defensive guru. Fifth straight passing play for the Chiefs. That pass is complete as a penalty marker flies, and that's enough for a first down. But let's check the flag, which was thrown on this side of the field. Albert Wilson with the catch.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Defense, number 94. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a first down.
Penalty is on Lawrence Timmons. The pass was complete to Albert Wilson, who's seeing extra time on the field today because Donnie Avery is sidelined for the afternoon.
Well, and Albert Wilson's put together a couple of nice games back-to-back, and undrafted rookie free agent out of Georgia State has made a good impression here the last few weeks.
The fake to Jamaal Charles. Alex Smith throwing it back to Charles on this side of the field. Tripped up at the 35-yard line. Nice play by William Gay. You know, there weren't very many defenders behind William Gay if he missed that tackle.
Yeah, they were in a man-to-man once again, and Jamal Charles is just going to come out of the backfield. You'll see him come out this way, and you're going to have the receiver clearing out to this side. It's just a fake rollout, and that's your outlet. See how everybody's running man-to-man up the field, leaves Jamal Charles. William Gay doesn't trip him up. That's a huge gain for the Chiefs.
2nd and 4, quick pass, Albert Wilson. And Wilson across the 30 to about the 28 before he's knocked out of bounds, but that's another Kansas City first down. Let's go green right about now, Trent.
Well, going back over to last week's game against Atlanta, the Steelers like to bring pressure. When they bring pressure, there are quick throws to be made on the outside. The problem with quick throws on the outside is you better wrap up, you better make those tackles because you're in one-on-one coverage. We've seen 3 times today already on this drive where the Chiefs have thrown this quick throw and have been able to pick up big chunks of yardage because of that man coverage.
Knile Davis in the backfield, Davis with the handoff. And he is wrapped up at about the 27-yard line. I think everybody on both sides of the field took note of how the Falcons played Le'Veon Bell a week ago.
Well, when you hold Le'Veon Bell to only 47 yards rushing, you're doing something right. The negative thing is that the Steelers have the ability to stretch the field with the passing game. So making that adjustment was important for the Steelers a week ago, and you know that's a challenge here for Kansas City today. They lean so heavily on Jamal Charles, but the way the Steelers are susceptible is through the air, and we've seen that a little bit here on this drive so far.
10th play of this drive. This is DeAnthony Thomas. And Thomas up the sideline and knocked down and out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal for Kansas City.
This is another quick throw, getting the ball out of Alex Smith's hands quickly. The Steelers like to bring that pressure, as I've said many times on this drive, so that leaves a lot of man-to-man. And when you're throwing these quick throws, it's a matter of wrapping up and getting that tackle secured. Good blocking on the outside by Dwayne Bowe and Albert Wilson, freeing up DeAnthony Thomas to get down the sideline.
Jamal Charles back onto the field in the backfield. Charles going nowhere. Stacked up by Lawrence Timmons. It has been a running story for Kansas City. No wide receiver has caught a touchdown pass. Last time it happened over a year. December 8th of last season, Dwayne Bowe, a 22-yarder from Alex Smith in their 45-10 win over Washington.
Well, the Steelers have been pretty stout on this drive, stopping the run up until this point. Alex Smith is 6 of 7 for 69 yards on this drive, most of the throws being quick throws.
Kansas City's red zone offense, superb, 2nd best in the NFL. Smith pulls it down, now throwing and overthrows everybody. And out of the end zone, intended for Travis Kelce.
Pass out of the end zone.
That's a smart decision by Alex Smith. They have a double move by Travis Kelce in the middle of the field. They spread everybody out, try getting him on one-on-one. He does a little out and up move, try to get him on a pump. You're going to see him right here. There he is. You're going to see with a little out and up move. He comes in front of the linebacker instead of getting over the top of Timmons, and that ultimately is why Alex has to throw that away.
Knile Davis in the backfield. 3rd and goal. Smith under pressure, and he's going down. In the grasp of number 97, Cameron Hayward.
Cameron Hayward, this is the 2nd time on the series that he's matched one-on-one with Linkenbach. And he's just able to bull rush and get to the outside, wrap around. You can see that a stunt there with Harrison going to the inside and Hayward coming around to the outside.
Cairo Santos from 35 yards out. Missed 2 out of 3 last week. This one is good. 2 minutes, 6 seconds to play in the first quarter. Trading field goals, 3-3, Chiefs and Steelers. As we welcome you back, we can remind you can get the fastest sports scores and updates with the CBS Sports app, the fastest app for sports fans. Download the CBS Sports app now. 14-play drive, 65 yards, and Santos the 35-yard field goal. We're tied at 3. Marcus Wheaton once again in the end zone.
Well, Alex Smith was very effective on that drive. As I said, most of the throws weren't up the field. The big throw was the third down conversion to Albert Wilson that he had to push up the field.
Wheaton will run this one from about 4 yards deep. Gets to the outside and turns it up and is out of bounds at about the 25-yard line. Frank Zombo ran him out. Roethlisberger and the offense back on the field. When we come back to Heinz Field.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. And by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
It's one of our exceptional camera dudes, Andy Italiano. Can't see the guys chasing him. Way to go. From the 25-yard line. Straight drop for Roethlisberger. He has time and he's going deep far side of the field and batted away. Nicely played by Sean Smith, who was covering Martavis Bryant down the sideline.
Sean Smith was actually on top of Martavis Bryant. He's able to get a hand in there and tip it away. As a defensive back, if you can stack a receiver that's going deep, that gives you the advantage because you're in position and the receiver has to go through you to get to the ball.
2nd and 10. This is Bell, and Bell going to be dragged down at the line of scrimmage by Justin Houston.
Justin Houston one-on-one on the outside, keeping that outside leverage. You see him on Gilbert extending that left arm, being able to press him so he can shed the block and be able to make that tackle.
The 17 sacks tied with Baltimore's Elvis Dumervil going into today's action.
Bert.
3rd and 10. Movement up front, and this will go against the Steelers.
Ball start. Offhead. Number 53. 5-yard penalty. It's still down.
Marquise Pouncey, the Pittsburgh center, guilty of moving early.
And there's been gamesmanship by both defenses trying to mess with the quarterbacks as they're making their adjustments at the line of scrimmage, whether it be a run pass check, pass run check, or even with trying to get the linemen squared away on who they're declaring as the Mike linebacker and turning their protection. So you can see both defenses have been jumping around quite a bit today to get in the heads of the quarterbacks.
Playoff atmosphere here in Pittsburgh. Roethlisberger running out of time. Got hit. The ball is loose. Covered by Kansas City. It's ruled incomplete. Joe Mays hit Roethlisberger. Ron Torbert immediately ran in and ruled it an incomplete pass.
Bob Sutton, the defensive coordinator of the Chiefs, talked about attacking Ben Roethlisberger's arm. Don't go after his body because his arm is able. His arm, he can get rid of the ball when he has someone draped around his legs. That's how big and strong he is. So he talked all week to his guys about attacking the arm of Ben Roethlisberger. That time, Dee Ford does just that.
Chiefs are going to get some great field position. This is Dree Archer from his own 45. Cuts it back. Goes back outside and dragged down close to midfield. 35 seconds to play in the first quarter. Here was that play at the other end of the field. Ben Roethlisberger, was his arm going forward? And is that properly called as an incomplete pass as opposed to a fumble?
I believe his arm was coming forward. We've had a chance to look at it a couple times during the commercial break, and of course it doesn't matter now. Andy Reid didn't challenge it before the punt was attempted.
On first down, Alex Smith with time, throwing up the middle, and he's got a man wide open in the middle of the field. Albert Wilson with the catch. Mike Carey standing by in New York, our officiating expert. You saw it, Mike. What did you think?
Yeah, I had a close look at this one. I think that Andy would have been well advised to challenge this one. If I was in the booth, I would have called this a fumble, and obviously we had a clear recovery at the end. So This one would have been a nice one to have challenged.
All right, Mike, thank you much.
Mike and I haven't disagreed very often recently.
Yeah,
but,
I think that's a pact between you two. We run out of time here in the first quarter. 3-3. Chiefs and Steelers. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Ready for the start of the second quarter. Both these teams are thinking 2 wins in 2 games to finish out this season. The Steelers, 2 wins gives them the NFC North. 2 wins for the Kansas City Chiefs puts them into the postseason. First down, Alex Smith. 3 ground game plays, 11 pass plays. He's throwing again. Charles. Penalty marker down as Charles is wrapped up at about the 33-yard line. And a scuffle. And another flag flies.
Well, you can see how Kelsey responds because Timmons has the ball. So it almost looks like he was just finishing off a tackle as the pile was going on. There was a flag prior to the scuffle where the play ended.
There are fouls by both teams on the play. Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 20. Late hit, personal foul after the end of the play. Offense, number 87. Those fouls will offset. We'll replay the down.
So Will Allen guilty of roughing the passer. That was the first flag. And then Kelsey at the end of the play.
Here is Will Allen coming from the secondary. He's the one that's going to come around and get the hit, the late hit on Alex Smith.
And then Travis Kelsey is throwing people around like a school teacher. That's not right. On first down, here's Jamal Charles, left side.
You have told me about some of your school stories.
Maybe it's just from my personal experience. First quarter numbers. Are you surprised that the Chiefs have relied on throwing the ball as much as they have so far?
Well, I think you see the ineffectiveness they've had running the ball. They've really used the short passing game as their run game with the quick throws to the outside, these bunch formations like they have lined up here. Throw a quick throw to the outside and try and pick up 4 or 5 yards that way. They've been effective with it today.
Davis going nowhere. Hit almost immediately by Tuitt, number 91. And now it's 3rd and 8. And DeAnthony Thomas, number 13, trots onto the field. And DeAnthony Thomas can scoot.
Well, they've used him in that bunch formation where they throw him the quick throw to the outside. They've even had him motion out of the backfield where they hit him on a swing. So now he's down here at the bottom of the picture.
3rd and 8. Smith with time, near side of the field, has his man open, and that catch is made by Dwayne Bowe, number 82, who has had quite the week, Trent.
Yeah, when you consider he's been dealing with an illness all week, and the Chiefs now, this is twice that they've been able to pick on Antwon Blake, their number 41. He gets soft in his coverage. The first major third down pickup on 3rd and long was Albert Wilson on a curl route to him. That time Bowe just running an out route in front of him and able to pick up that first down. Antwon Blake's going to have to play tighter in coverage instead of giving up those big chunks.
We were told that cornerback Philip Gaines is not feeling well. His return is questionable. He's the rookie out of Rice. Smith with time, now running out, now throws it away on the far side of the field.
Well, that's a good decision. You go back to the last drive, and there was a couple of plays that Alex Smith was under pressure, and instead of getting the ball out of his hand and throwing it away, he took the sack or took the hit, and that time being able to get mobile, get outside, get away from that pocket, and throw it away, preserves 2nd and 10.
Line of scrimmage, the Pittsburgh 17. running out of time, and Kansas City has to call a timeout. Play clock was about to expire, and so Kansas City uses a timeout with 12:39 to play. The Chiefs can actually lose and still make the postseason, but that is just such a mishmash of possibilities. But they win their final 2 games. That's the easiest route.
That's not a math equation that I'm equipped to do right now. So I think the easy thing for the Chiefs, just to keep it simple for them, and I think that's been the message that Andy Reid has tried to send to his players, is you have to win. You don't want to leave it in someone else's hands, and right now that's kind of been the message here. And going back to last week, Evan touched on it in the open. The message going into that Raiders game was to loosen up, have some fun, and play with some personality, and that's really what he's tried doing, and it's been effective even so far today with that, especially with the first drive the offense had, and then defense standing firm when the Steelers got into the red zone.
Which, by the way, strikes me as always easier said than done. I mean, it's easy for a guy to say, hey, just go out and have some fun.
Right, yeah, it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to do it, because believe me, the players feel the pressure of this type of season when you're getting this close to the playoffs.
Charles in the backfield, 2nd and 10. Smith, quick pass inside the 15 is complete to Bo. And forward progress will be marked at the 12, so that's a 5-yard pickup.
Well, that gets you into a doable 3rd down instead of trying to push the ball up the field. Go ahead and try and get half of it there, get a chunk to Dwayne Bowe. Now, here you're not so concerned. You'd love to get into the end zone. Of course you would, but you have to remember the defense is sitting at the sticks as well. So I think for the Chiefs, the goal here should be to get the 1st down, not necessarily try and stretch it into the end zone.
Steelers looking for a little help from their crowd on 3rd and 5. Far side of the field, that's complete, and Thomas is roughed out of bounds. Forward progress will be marked at the 11. Lawrence Timmons, James Harrison converging, and that'll force the field goal unit.
This is the 2nd time they ran the play. On the first series, DeAnthony's right here, and he's going to run around to the outside. You have the receivers coming up here, and that's where Alex Smith wants to go. The first time they ran the play, the first series, they went right to DeAnthony right away. This time, Alex Smith is looking up the field, trying to get to the inside receivers, and then takes him as the outlet, and the Steelers respond with the tackle.
Santos was good from 35. This is from 30 for the lead. The fake. The give to Kelce. Kelce diving. Looks like he has a 1st down at the 7-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal.
The Chiefs were able to catch him by surprise. Here's Travis Kelce, but I want you to watch the defender on the end here. He's going to drop into coverage, and that's what allows the Chiefs to seal the edge, and ultimately for Kelce to get the 1st down.
Nice call by Andy Reid.
Yeah, that's a pressure thing. That's something that you see during the week of study, the week of film study. You may see, hey, we know in this alignment, this guy on the end, he's going to drop back into coverage. And I think that's what's going to be the indicator. There's something that the Steelers showed on tape that indicated with this look, he's going to drop back in coverage so we can get around the edge because of that. They dialed it up at the right time. They're able to seal the edge or at least get a little bump on him so he can't come up and make the tackle. And Kelce's able to get the 1st down to get it to 1st and goal.
We said at the very beginning how the Chiefs were going to have to be special on special teams today.
Well, and most of the time being special for them has been in the return game. With their punt return and kick return, they're one of the tops in the league in both of those categories. And, they've had some trouble. You go back to last week, you mentioned it earlier with Cairo Santos, a couple of missed field goals. And with that's a short field goal. The Steelers are probably thinking, hey, let's play this safe, keep it safe. It's not very far. They're not going to pull a fake at this point in time, and sure enough, the Chiefs were able to catch them off guard. Had a quick look at Dave Tobe there, the special teams coordinator.
1st and goal. Not much for Charles. Just inside the 5-yard line.
Well, it may be hard to run the football down here. You see that the Chiefs have now been down in the red zone twice, and they haven't been very effective running the football. They're having a hard time pushing the Steelers around. Wouldn't be surprised to see them put it up in the air here.
Is this the trip? A wide receiver catches a touchdown pass. Avant is out there. Dwayne Bowe is out there.
So you have Antoine Blake on Dwayne Bowe down here.
Incomplete. Antoine Blake covering Dwayne Bowe, 3rd and goal.
This is good coverage by Antoine Blake. He's been playing soft on a lot of these 3rd downs, but near the goal line, he plays tight coverage. He's able to get that right arm in between Dwayne Bowe's 2 arms and pull the ball loose as the ball hits Dwayne right in the hands.
Dwayne Bowe at 6'2", Antoine Blake at 5'9". 3rd and goal. Smith on the move, running it out of bounds.
The problem for Alex Smith here is all the receivers are going to the left side of the field. The flow of the screen, the flow of the play is all to the left side. So as soon as Harrison's going to be the one to come off the edge, but all the receivers are going to be coming in this direction. So when he starts to flush to his right, he has no one to throw to because the entire offense is on this side of the field and he's coming out this way. So as a quarterback, when you break contain, he has nothing to do. Either throw it away or do what he did, tuck it and try and pick up as many yards as you can.
Santos. This time the Chiefs mean it. And the 25-yard field goal is good. 9:25 to play. In the first half, 6-3, Kansas City. Saturday, CBS Sports rings in the bowl season with 2 high-octane scoring machines. The Arizona State Sun Devils tangle with the Blue Devils of Duke in the Sun Bowl live at 2 Eastern here on CBS. Duke looking for its first postseason win since the 1961 Cotton Bowl. That's a stretch.
That football team has been turned around, though, the last couple of years.
Marcus Wheaton will not run this one out of the end zone, so the Steelers will start from their own 20-yard line, down by 3. We're coming back to Pittsburgh right after this. This is the NFL on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. State Farm. Pump up your savings with a discount double check today. And by Kelley Blue Book. Find out what you should pay for your next new car at kbb.com.
If you don't like the color yellow, you do not belong in the city of Pittsburgh, the Strip District, where they show their Steelers colors all the time. Quick look at the AFC playoff picture and what's at stake for both these teams. Le'Veon Bell in the backfield. As the Steelers start from their own 20-yard line, Antonio Brown in motion. Roethlisberger looks his way, throws, makes the catch, has the first down and then some, up the sideline and out of bounds at about the 37-yard line.
Antonio Brown coming in motion. You'll see him working from Ben Roethlisberger's left to right. This isolated, just a quick 5-yard out route. Sean Smith is running with him in man-to-man coverage, and it just gives him too much of a cushion and allows him to pick up 10 yards after that catch.
Number 38, Ron Parker, has moved to cornerback to replace Philip Gaines from his safety position. Over the middle, that's complete across midfield to the 47-yard line of the Chiefs. Heath Miller.
Heath Miller, 83, will be working the middle of the field. They just come with a hard play fake, get the linebackers to suck up near the line of scrimmage, and then they're able to get that pass in over the top of him and in front of Parker before he can make the tackle.
Roethlisberger and the Steelers from the 48-yard line of the Chiefs. Play fake. Ben got rid of it, tipped in the air, and it's incomplete. Alan Bailey got a hand on it as Roethlisberger released it.
As Greg just said, right here, Alan Bailey, after missing the last couple of games due to an injury, gets his hand up, is able to tip that ball away. before Le'Veon Bell can get his hands on. The Steelers now have taken a different approach. They started using, on that first play, they used Mike Adams came in, and offensive tackle came in as the extra tight end. And now the last couple of plays, they're trying to get to more play action pass, try and push the ball up the field. The Chiefs have shown where they want to keep the secondary deep and try and keep the big plays from happening.
Jamal Fleming has moved to cornerback for the Chiefs now, and the give is to Bell, and Bell wrestled down at about the 45-yard line. We'll remind you, tomorrow, these geniuses can solve any problem, but they can't do it without each other. Don't miss the new hit series, Scorpion, tomorrow at 9, 8 Central, only CBS.
They bring Lance Moore into the game. He's more of a slot receiver that likes to work the middle of the field. He's partnered in up there with Marcus Wheaton. Wheaton up here at the top, and Lance Moore right there. They're more of your quick inside receivers.
3rd and 7, Roethlisberger throwing far side of the field, has his man for a first down, and that's Marcus Wheaton.
They get one-on-one on the outside with Jamel Fleming just in off coverage, and just as the Steelers were having problems on 3rd down with the off coverage, the Chiefs turn around and do the same thing. They play that soft coverage. You're going to just give up the first down with the receiver going a couple yards past the sticks, and an accurate throw from Roethlisberger.
Much has been made about the fact that throughout history, Steeler defense has been the talk, but this is as talented an offense as there's been for a while.
Well, it's historic in all phases when you think of the number of records that have been broken across the board.
Roethlisberger, a little flick for Bell. Bell on the way, inside the 25, about a yard short of a first down. Let's get our first NFL Today update from New York. JB, Bart Scott.
Jets love this rivalry.
Oh yeah, we say keep your eyes on your luggage. He finds Jeff Cumberland for the 20-yard touchdown. Jets respond 7-all.
Back to Greg Gumbel.
Thank you, JB. New England looking for a win to clinch home field advantage, combined with a Denver loss today. Jets, that's Rex Ryan. Is he saying goodbye at home? 2nd and 1. Bell has the first down to the 25-yard line. Excuse me, to the 20.
And going back into this drive, you know, the Steelers have done such a good job. Todd Haley changing things up as the offensive coordinator of the Steelers, changing things up with the run and the pass, getting to some play action, getting to some quick throws, and then when he has the ability to stretch the field and push the ball up the field, he wants Ben taking his shots as well. Steelers coming into this lead the National Football League in time of possession. Really, the Chiefs have been controlling things with their first 2 series, and the Steelers are getting back to their offensive rhythm.
We duck under 6 minutes to play here in the first half. Roethlisberger, quick pass over the middle, inside the 10-yard line to Heath Miller. It'll be 1st and goal from the 6.
And Greg, that's twice on this series now where a hard play fake to Le'Veon Bell brings the linebackers up, and Roethlisberger on a quick throw over the middle to Heath Miller. That's where they have such effectiveness, is the ability to expand defenses. You have to stay on the outside because of Antonio Brown. You have to have that threat or be aware of that threat. But when you have Le'Veon Bell in the backfield, that creates space in the middle for Heath Miller.
Too many people to worry about if you're a defense. 1st and goal. Roethlisberger, shuffle pass to Miller. Miller to the 1. Ben Roethlisberger now with a new Steelers single season record, 376 completions this season.
And once again with that rollout to the right, Le'Veon Bell in the backfield working to the right. That's what draws the attention of the defense, and Heath Miller working behind the line of scrimmage just on the quick shuffle pass is able to pick it up down inside the 2-yard line.
Mike Adams has come in as a tight end on 2nd and goal from the 1. Roethlisberger throwing over the middle. He dropped it in the end zone. Miller had it on his hands and couldn't hold on.
Well, that's been the go-to thing this entire series. Hard play fakes to Le'Veon Bell, getting Heath Miller over the middle. Parker to the outside, dives in there. It doesn't appear that he gets a hand on the football, but it's enough to distract Heath Miller from bringing that catch in.
3rd and goal. And Roethlisberger spreads the field. Waits, throws, incomplete. Pass intended for Martavis Bryant, broken up by Ron Parker, and a flag is down.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 38. Half the distance to the goal, automatic, first down.
A disbelieving Andy Reid sees the call go against the Chiefs' Ron Parker.
I'm not sure where that comes from. It doesn't appear that he has a holding call on that side of the field. Looks like he was in good position, but maybe he wrapped him up earlier and was holding him as he was breaking out of his route.
So from the 1, Le'Veon Bell, right side, end zone, touchdown. Eighth rushing touchdown of the season for Le'Veon Bell.
Give credit to the right side of the offensive line, creating space coming into today. These guys are just going to come up and block. Coming into today, the Chiefs have only given up 2 rushing touchdowns on the season. That's only the 3rd one. It's a tough team to run the football on down inside the 5.
Extra point is good. 4 minutes, 18 seconds to play in the first half, and the Steelers grab the lead with the touchdown. First touchdown of the day, 10-6 Pittsburgh.
It's a key pass interference call, or a holding call on Parker. You're going to see right at the top here, zoom in, you see that right arm gets up around the shoulder pad, and that's what the official sees. Then as he goes on the slant, he gets his backside hand around the receiver's waist, and that's ultimately what is called. And that leads to the touchdown run by Le'Veon Bell on 1st and goal.
11-play, 80-yard drive. 4 of the 5 drives put on display here by both teams have been 5 minutes plus. DeAnthony Thomas is deep along with Albert Wilson. Thomas 3 yards deep in the end zone. Shakes a tackler and brings it back out to just about the 16-yard line with 4:11 to play in the first half.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by McDonald's, official sponsor of the NFL. I'm loving it. And by Pepsi. Hype your hometown with Pepsi at Pepsi.com/halftime.
Welcome back to Heinz Field, where the Steelers are leading Kansas City by a 10-6 score. Week 16 continues later today on CBS and for some of you on Fox. And then tonight, the Seahawks and the Cardinals on NBC. Tune in tomorrow for the Broncos and the Bengals on Monday Night Football on ESPN. Alex Smith, 10 of 14 for 106 yards throwing the football. Jamal Charles across the 20 to about the 23-yard line. As we come up on 4 minutes to play in the first half, as you look at the Chiefs' first 2 possessions, both resulting in field goals, which stalled in the red zone.
Well, both are consuming time. They're converting first downs. They're able to move the ball, but then they get down in that red zone, and the Steelers are standing firm and not allowing them to get into the end zone, and that's really the difference right now.
Charles picked up 8, 2nd and 2. The pass to this side, and that's Bo. And Bo out of bounds at the 35 for a first down.
Once again, another quick throw by Alex Smith, not putting too much pressure on the offensive line, getting the ball out of his hands quickly. There have been several times today where he's tried pushing it up the field and the Steelers have been able to get to him.
Trent, how strong can Dwayne Bowe be after the week that he's had?
Well, that's going to be an interesting thing for me to keep an eye on as this game progresses, is just how much energy he has as things move along. You see there, once he did catch the ball, he didn't have that same burst that you're used to seeing. He was able to pick up the first down, but that's something to keep an eye on the rest of the way.
On first down, Smith rolling and had to throw it away. Yeah, right up until today, the Chiefs did not know if Dwayne Bowe would be available. Sick all week long with the flu, didn't practice. Multiple IV treatments. Let's go down to Evan.
Well, guys, I've been watching Dwayne Bowe pretty carefully on this Chiefs sideline. Now, as you've seen him, he's been in the game, he's been fairly effective, but as he comes off, he's in constant conversation with athletic trainers and doctors, constantly getting fluids. He seems determined to play, but they're observing him very closely.
All right, Evan, thanks. 2nd and 10. Far side of the field. That catch is made by Albert Wilson, and Wilson up the sideline. Wilson out of bounds inside the 35-yard line.
Wilson has quickly become a major part of this passing game over the last couple of weeks. He gives them a dimension of speed. He's not the biggest receiver, but you can see he has sure hands. That ball was coming in fast and high, and he was able to snag it, break a tackle, and with his speed get to the outside.
And here are the Chiefs right back into Pittsburgh territory at the 32. Smith. That's complete to Bowe. Bowe to the 20 and another Kansas City first down. 2:25 to play in the first half.
And this is what has been happening to the Steelers all season long, is they've been able to be effective against the run, but they've been susceptible through the air. And as you mentioned, Greg, we've mentioned several times, Troy Polamalu not playing today, Ike Taylor not playing today.
And we're going to see the Chiefs let this run down to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to play here at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. Steelers with the lead. Chiefs knocking on the door. I feel safe in saying the guys back in New York have lots of playoff scenarios to discuss. The Verizon Halftime Report. JB and company will have scores, highlights, first half analysis all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. DeAnthony Thomas, nowhere to go. Going to get wrapped up and lose yardage on the play, courtesy of James Harrison. Remember, Kansas City is down to 1 timeout.
Harrison up here at the top. He's going to stretch it to the outside, get up the field. Nowhere for DeAnthony to go. I think there's a little anger built up in the fact that he hasn't played the last couple weeks, and so he's had his presence felt all over the field today.
Kansas City with just 14 rushing yards on the day, 152 throwing. Alex going to throw it again. Thomas gets a couple of blocks inside the 20 to the 15-yard line. Will Allen making the tackle.
Once again, this has been a theme for the Chiefs this entire first half, is get the defense moving one direction, make a quick throw, and get your guys in open space. DeAnthony Thomas, the outstanding punt returner for the Kansas City Chiefs. You give him that ball in space, and it really almost becomes like a punt return with lead blockers.
45 seconds to play in the first half as the Chiefs eat up some clock. Smith, this side of the field, complete, and diving out of bounds for the first down marker is DeAnthony Thomas. So he gets the clock stopped, and let's see where they place the football. It appears to be a first down.
They initially marked it short, and that's why the fans were cheering. And then when they actually spotted the ball, DeAnthony's going to be coming from out of the backfield here.
And he needs about the 11-yard line for a first down.
See if he's able to extend it. It doesn't look like he doesn't go out of bounds, but his knee may be down.
His knee is down.
His knee's down, so it depends on where the ball is when his knee's down.
Fans saw that. The fans reacting. Mike Tomlin with arms extended. And they'll be taking a look at it upstairs. They'll take a look. We'll take a break. Right knee down before he extends the football. Let's go to Eagle Eye Mike Carey in New York. Mike.
Well, I'll tell you, Greg and Trent, this is one that's really difficult because, you know, your experience shows that his knee is down where the ball is. When his knee is down, you feel that it's short, but there's not an angle that shows you exactly where to spot the ball. So if you don't have that, it'd be very difficult to reverse this.
Let's see what Ron Torbert has to say.
The runner's forward progress was stopped with the ball at the 11-yard line. We'll place the ball at the 11-yard line and measure for the first down.
Well, there you go.
That Mike Carey is quick to tell us when he's right. You know that? He is as quick as can be.
Well, you know, and I agree with Mike. It's hard to judge it because the ball is in the air, and from the angle that we have, it's not, you know, it's not a perfect world when it comes to that angle, and sometimes you just have to use your judgment on where it is. But
and this is a big
so
measurement.
Is it there, or is it a half a length forward?
Right.
You can't tell. But here's where they put it, and we'll see what the measurement tells us.
Missed it by that much.
I think the Chiefs go for it here.
27 seconds on the clock.
It'll be 4th down and a foot.
And Alex Smith and the offense still on the field. So 27 seconds to play. Kansas City with 1 timeout remaining. If you're Andy Reid, you know you're really tempted to take the points and go into the locker room down by just a point, but he wants more.
I go for it. I think you're this close. You go for it. You have the 1 timeout. So if you want to run the ball, you can call a quick timeout. Or going back to last week with Pittsburgh with the game on the line, they did a hard play action pass and hit a pass up the field to seal that game in Atlanta. So the Chiefs could take a play out of the Steelers playbook and try and catch them with a surprise here.
Jamal Charles and Anthony Sherman in the backfield. Charles. Lawrence Timmons was the first to hit him. He did not make it.
They try winding back. They're going to move Fasano behind the line of scrimmage to do the kick out. Fasano's going to come over here and get the kick out block. Sherman, you'll see, come into the picture and get the block here. But as you said, Greg, Timmons comes free on that backside, is able to make the initial contact, and then he has a gang of Steeler tacklers to finish it off and not allow him to get past that 11-yard line.
So that defensive stand will allow the Steelers to close out this first half, holding on to a 4-point lead. The Verizon halftime report coming your way with JB and the guys with the latest NFL scores and highlights. That'll be the Verizon halftime report. Andy Reid took a chance. It didn't work, and he's still down 4.
Well, and they have the ball coming out first in the second half. So one train of thought would be take the points. You got the ball coming back out. The other train of thought is you're down there and you like your run game. You like the back that you have in the backfield. Go ahead and go for it.
Let's go down to Evan.
Well, Coach, I just saw you run that whole sideline after that 4th and 1 stop. What kind of momentum did that create going into the second half?
You know, it's big. You know, we got the #1 red zone defense, and they got the #2 red zone offense. So we got to be good in the red area on offense and defense, and that's what that sequence kind of exemplifies.
Offensively, you guys have been extremely efficient. What do you like about what that group has done?
You know, we just hadn't had the ball enough. You know, they're doing a nice job of possessing the ball. I like what we're doing with it. We just hadn't had enough snaps.
Coach, thanks.
Thank you.
Craig?
All right, Evan, thank you. We have come to the end of the first half here at Heinz Field. The Steelers 10 and the Chiefs 6. Back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Oh, that Disney movie Frozen. Knile Davis is deep. And he will back into the end zone and run it out from 5 yards deep. Out across the 20 and close to the 25-yard line. He'll be marked down at the 24. Darius Hayward-Bay with the stop. So the Chiefs hopeful that they can pick it up where they left off in the first half.
I anticipate they'll do the same thing. They're going to try and continue to get those quick passes, get their receivers in open space to where they can make guys miss, break through a tackle, those kinds of things. But as this progresses, if they go off and they start with that initially here in the second half, look as the game progresses to where you get a quick little pump fake to that short pass, and then you try and hit the big one over the top when the defense responds to it.
Alex Smith had a very efficient first half. Throwing the football, he's going to throw here, and he's got Bo across the 30 to about the 33. It looks like maybe a yard short of a first down.
And you can see how some of that short stuff is beginning to open up some of the deeper stuff. Alex Smith, when he initially comes away with this pass, or comes away with this snap, his eyes go directly to Jamaal Charles. So 2 defenders respond to go out to Jamaal Charles, and then that creates the lane to hit Dwayne Bowe for the 10-yard.
On 2nd and 1, they'll look for Charles to get the first down, and he will to the 35-yard line. Dwayne Bowe's afternoon, Trent.
Well, he made a nice catch on the sideline, able to pick up the first down and take a big hit, but that's the play right there that almost broke the string for wide receiver touchdowns. He wasn't able to hang on to it. The ball was ripped out as he was going to the ground, but you can see most of those throws have all been short and intermediate. It'll be interesting to follow his energy level here through the second half, if he'll be able to keep up the number of snaps that he took in the first half.
Smith, play fake, and he's going to go deep. Intended for Albert Wilson. That is what you call an anomaly.
Yeah, that was a missed opportunity. When you see Albert is going to be open and Alex Smith just overthrows him. He's going to just go on a skinny post here. Dwayne's clearing out the backside. You're going to see the safety respond. That's one that Alex Smith wants back. Antoine Blake, once again, they've gone after him a couple of times today. That time able to beat him on the post and just not connect with the throw.
2nd and 10, Jamaal Charles across the 40 out to the 41-yard line. Alex Smith usually doesn't go long, Trent.
Yeah, you see right there the fewest in the NFL for 20-plus yard passes. That's with the ball traveling in the air. That's not something that this offense does well. I don't think that it's just a matter of Alex Smith not being able to throw the ball down the field. I think it's a matter of getting guys open down the field, and there's got to be some balance to it. You also have to have the time to throw it down the field, and this has been a work in progress, this offensive line.
You saw Jamaal Charles in a bit of distress on the sideline. Knile Davis has replaced him on 3rd and 4. Smith pulls it down and is brought down. Looking for the quick slant, and it was covered. And James Harrison brings him down.
James Harrison's been putting pressure on all day on Alex Smith. And there's really nowhere for Alex to go with this ball. Watch, you got a lot of man-on-man. This is all man-to-man coverage, and Alex Smith is trying to look to his right, the bottom of our screen here. There's just not anyone open. You can see all these guys are covered. You've got them all across the board. Alex Smith is trying to buy time with his feet.
Antonio Brown is deep. He will make the fair catch call at the 12-yard line. 12:04 to play, 3rd quarter.
During the last drive, Jamaal Charles on the run. He's been hampered with the left ankle and left knee, and right here you can see James Harrison falling into that left ankle, causing him some pain and discomfort. He left the field at that time and went over to the sidelines and was talking with team doctors and trainers. knowing the toughness that he brings to the field. Last week he was dealing with knee and ankle, and he was able to get 13 touches out of it. So I anticipate him being back.
He's the epitome of a workhorse, isn't he?
You know, and he's not a big body guy. You think of those guys over the years that have been the workhorses. They tend to be a little bit bigger body guys than Jamal.
Le'Veon Bell, little hesitation, and then that burst we talked about that he has up to the 19-yard line. Jamal has taken several tough hits this season. Week 7, hit by Brandon Flowers of the Chargers at the end of his touchdown run. Hurt his leg at the bottom of the pile against Arizona Week 14. And then last week against Oakland, removed from the game for good, taking a hit to the head. He cleared concussion protocol, but he did not return.
Well, we tried making some comparisons between Jamal Charles and Le'Veon Bell, and they both have the ability, the good patience as running backs. They both have the burst to be able to get through the screen, but as far as body weight and size, Le'Veon Bell has a bigger lower body and stronger legs.
Roethlisberger under pressure and goes down at the 12-yard line. Justin Houston.
Roethlisberger tackled by Houston.
And showing his number 29 underneath his jersey for Eric Berry.
And here's Justin Houston coming off the edge. Tied for the NFL sack lead coming into today. This will be his 18th sack on the season. Good pressure there by Allen Bailey as well. Howard gets around to the outside, causing Roethlisberger to step up, and you can see the tribute to Eric Berry right there by Justin Houston.
Tributes even here in Pittsburgh, which is nice to see. 3rd and 10. Quick pass far side of the field. Bobbled and grabbed by Antonio Brown. And that'll be short of a first down.
I can tell you, as a quarterback, you're holding your breath the entire time you see that ball tipped up in the air, because you know that someone from the secondary is just going to get it, pluck it out of the air, and start going the other direction. You see all those bodies around. Believe me, Ben Roethlisberger, he was holding his breath for that entire 8 yards of that ball bobbling in the air.
Well, the offense lingered on the field for just a moment, maybe trying to talk Mike Tomlin into going for it on 4th down, but the punting unit is out there.
I would say right now, as well as your defense is playing, there's no need at this point in time of the game down on your own 22-yard line to think anything that crazy.
DeAnthony Thomas has a punt return for a touchdown earlier this season. And he will get a chance to run this one back from his own 22-yard line. Breaking it outside and runs out of bounds at about the 25. 9:37 to play. 3rd quarter, 10-6 Pittsburgh.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Bose, official sound of the NFL. And by Honda, where you can get great deals during Happy Honda Days.
A little glance at the Winter Flower Show taking place here in Pittsburgh, which reminds us to send out the very best Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday wishes to all of you from all of us. And a reminder, thought your fantasy season was over? It's not. Play for free. You can win a trip to Super Bowl 50. Join today at NFL.com/playoff challenge. Jamal Charles back in. The pass to this side of the field, and there is Bo, and Bo out of bounds short of the 35-yard line. Pushed out by Antoine Blake.
Well, the Chiefs continue to work that side of the field against Antoine Blake. A couple of big plays and a couple of big pass attempts. He's been playing soft coverage. Last series they tried getting over the top where the Chiefs just missed on a big throw on the post route. But look for them to continue. Once again, this play here, you got Dwayne Bowe one-on-one on the outside.
8-yard gain, 2nd and 2. Going the other way. This is Avant. Jason Avant knocked out of bounds at about midfield, and it's a first down for the Chiefs.
Well, and Alex Smith and Andy Reid both talked to us a little bit about Jason Avant and him coming over just a few short weeks ago, being a bright addition to this receiving corps for the Chiefs. He brings in a work ethic and an understanding of this Philadelphia offense, because that's where Andy Reid first had Jason Avant in the receiving corps there for 9 seasons. So it's someone that's familiar with this offense, and his work ethic has been good for the young guys to see.
On first down from midfield, pulled it down a couple of times and then threw just inside the 45-yard line to Avant. Alex Smith was telling us it's his third time he's played against these Steelers, and he knows what's coming. He says he's pretty sure he can identify what's happening with that Pittsburgh defense. It's a matter of whether or not they can react quickly enough.
Yeah, he mentioned, with Dick LeBeau there, you know what the defense is going to be. I mean, it's what he runs. He likes to bring pressure. He likes to overload side. He likes to put, a hard time on your protection schemes. And so he feels like he's ready for it. But like you said, you still have to beat it.
That pass is incomplete on the far side of the field. So now Alex Smith, 19 of 26 for the day for 215 yards. And a nice play by William Gay covering Albert Wilson.
Well, and I think that slight hesitation is just enough for a veteran like William Gay to be able to react to. He's able to drive on it and get in there and make some connection. That almost has to be a trust thing between Alex and his receiver that time there, Albert Wilson, where you just let it go and have that timing. If you're waiting for him to get open, especially against a guy like Gay, it's not going to happen.
3rd and 4 now. Alex Smith throwing far side of the field, and that is complete to Travis Kelce for a first down at the 31.
When you keep waiting for him to get involved in this game, Travis Kelce is a huge weapon in the pass game. He's one-on-one with Timmons, and that's a matchup if you're Alex Smith. You can see the safety help over the top. Timmons was more interested in protecting the middle of the field, and that's what allowed Kelce to get open to the outside.
Kelce, ball is loose, and he held onto it on the sideline. And did they get a challenge flag out in time? There it is.
See, I think either Kelce ends up recovering it, or he's out of bounds when he's touching the ball, which would in turn make the ball out of bounds. So
Mike Tomlin got the challenge flag out before the snap.
Pittsburgh is challenging the ruling on the field on the previous play of a completed catch. We'll review the play. Timeout.
So this is what they will review as the ball came loose. We'll check it out. Here's what Ron Torbert has looked at under the hood. The catch. Kelce with a couple of steps goes down. That's when he loses the ball.
I think it stays a catch. I think you can see he takes a couple of steps. He has control of the ball, and then his knee comes in contact with the ground before the ball starts coming loose.
Let's see what Ron Torbert has to say.
After review, the ruling on the field stands as called. It is a catch. First down.
Let's bring in Mike Carey from New York. Mike.
Well, I hate to disagree again, but when the receiver gets control of the ball, almost simultaneously with his second step, he's contacted by the defender who drags him to the ground. So this is a receiver going to the ground. He must maintain complete control when he goes to the ground. 1, 2, that contact takes him to the ground, and the ball comes loose. In my opinion, this should be an incomplete pass.
All right, Mike, thank you.
Mike, you and I are just going to duel all day. We're just going to go back and forth on it because that. I still think he got I think he actually had 3 steps in. The knee came down, but you know much more details about it than I do, Mike. So.
And he did, but he was going to the ground, so he must maintain control.
Okay, all right.
Charge Pittsburgh with a timeout for the unsuccessful challenge. The game clock will start on the snap. Please reset the clock to 7 minutes, 14 seconds, please. 7:14. The clock will start on the snap.
Can I just say I'm delighted to be in the midst of this Christmas strife? Here it is. 1, 2, 3rd. He goes down. The ball starts to come loose, and he slides. And by the way, not just for nothing, he rolls a little bit out of bounds as well.
Yep.
Smith pulls it down. Gonna run with it. inside the 30-yard line. Travis Kelce has had his problems holding on to the football of late, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's had a few that have come loose, and you see against the Seahawks, the ball comes out. You're going back a few weeks with that one, but the big one against Arizona as they're driving to get into position to send it into overtime or to take the lead. And then last week against the Raiders, the ball comes out again. So it has been a problem for him coming into today.
2 for 19 yards for him today, 2nd and 7. Smith pulling it down again, and now throws Charles out of the backfield. Lost the ball. Steelers say they have it. They unstack the players. They're looking for the call, and it is Pittsburgh ball.
This may ultimately be reviewed as well. Well, they're all going to be reviewed on the turnovers. You're going to have to determine it. See this, watch his left knee. So does the ball come out before that left knee makes contact? Tuitt is the tackler for the Steelers.
Vince Williams with the recovery, so they'll check that out while we take a break. 6:26 to play in the third.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by FedEx One Rate. Simple flat rate shipping with the reliability of FedEx. And by Amazon's new Fire HD. Powerful tablet. Endless entertainment.
We've had a couple of different angles to look at. You're going to see Jamaal Charles as he's making the cutback here. Keep an eye on the football, and when his left knee comes down, you can see that he still has the ball secured to his body.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. It's Pittsburgh's ball. First down.
And that looks to be a completely inaccurate call.
Well, we need to have Mike Carey in the booth with us. I feel like we've had it, but that's what big games bring, is these type of situations. So, Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, so I agree with Ron on this one. As you see, right before the knee hits, the ball is still starting to move, and then it comes free. It just never stops. And so you can freeze it at certain parts and make it look like it stopped, but when it's moving full range of motion, that ball's moving the whole time. There's not enough to reverse there.
You and I need to talk, Mike.
See, I was going to invite you into the booth, Mike. You could come hang out with us as much as we're talking today, but now you can't.
You don't want a yes man, though.
That's exactly right.
From the 25, Roethlisberger throwing far sideline. That is complete. Marcus Wheaton with the catch. Let's take a look at it again, Mike, and let's take a look at it with regular speed, okay?
Yes. And see, the ball starts to move very high, and it looks like it's frozen, but it just isn't enough to really be positively sure that it wasn't moving all the way.
All right, Mike.
Ruling on the field should stand.
All right, thank you much. First down for Pittsburgh now at their own 39-yard line.
Yeah.
As we come up on 5:45 to play in the third, Le'Veon Bell in the backfield with Roethlisberger and gets the handoff. Maybe a yard on the play. Time for an NFL Today update. JB, Bart Scott back in our studios in New York, guys.
Greg, Atlanta has a postseason pulse.
And it's getting stronger and stronger thanks to Devontae Freeman, who takes it 31 yards for the score. Atlanta up 20-7. Win the next 2 weeks, and they're in.
Hey, Greg, I guess I'll need a little hot tea. Back to Greg Gumbel.
Have that looked at, JB, and send the bill to me. 2nd and 9 on the play. New Orleans clinches with a win and a Carolina loss.
Yeah.
Clinches with 2 wins today and next week. And Atlanta with 2 wins, they will clinch. Meanwhile, Roethlisberger wide open across midfield. Inside the 45 is Heath Miller for a first down.
This entire second half, the Steelers have had success with working the play action pass. This time Roethlisberger comes out and looks to make the quick throw to Antonio Brown. That draws up that underneath coverage, allowing Heath Miller to get open in the middle of the field.
Miller with 5 catches for 55 yards on the day. Boy, he is as reliable. You know, like tight ends are called security blankets for quarterbacks, aren't they?
Well, you know, and there's different types of tight ends. You've seen there's the receiver types, the Jimmy Grahams, the Rob Gronkowskis, even Travis Kelce for Kansas City. but then you have a Heath Miller guy that's a good run blocker and also a very good receiver.
Roethlisberger all kinds of time and over the middle. Penalty marker flies as Antonio Brown gets inside the 25 to the 24. And let's check the flag.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact. Defense number 20, rolled the receiver beyond 5 yards. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a first down.
That penalty is on Chris Owens, number 20. And you just cannot give Ben Roethlisberger that kind of time in the pocket.
Great protection by his offensive line, giving him plenty of time to push that ball up the field. Right here, this is going to be the guy that gets a call, but watch the protection here that Ben Roethlisberger has. The amount of time that he has to let that play develop. Great job by the Steelers front group.
On first down, this is Bell. And Bell bulls his way inside the 20 to about the 18. The man who used to be the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, you know, it was interesting when he took over here as offensive coordinator, some of the outside thoughts on what was going on and how many points they were producing and what direction was this offense going. And he's really stepped up and made this into one of the most dynamic offenses in the National Football League with his ability to change up between run and pass. And obviously he has the weapons to do it as well.
Mike Adams in at tight end for the Steelers. This is Bell. And Bell stood up at about the 14-yard line. That might be enough for a first down. Let's see where they spot his forward progress. Right there at the first down marker, it is enough for the first.
Well, and this is going to have to be where the Chiefs defense holds tight. Steelers defense has been keeping the Chiefs out of the end zone, holding them to field goals, and in order to keep this thing close, the Chiefs defense has to hold firm here.
Lisa Bell Russell, Le'Veon's mother. Proud as can be.
She should be. She should be. Her son's one of the best in the National Football League.
Play clock winding down, and Pittsburgh has to use a timeout here. So that stops the clock with 2:18 to play here in the third quarter. And once again, this Kansas City defense, which has played pretty well, is called on to make another defensive stand.
Well, they need to. It's this is an offense that can attack you in so many different ways, and it's important for the Chiefs defense to be aware of all that.
Steelers win today, they are in the postseason. If they lose and win next week against Cincy loses this week against Denver, they're in, or Baltimore loses once. Now Baltimore's trailing Houston 16-0 in the third quarter. They can actually lose a couple of games and still make it, but you talk about the tougher road to the playoffs.
That's an algorithm and math equation I don't care to do right now, Greg. So, like I said about Andy Reid earlier, he's just telling his guys to win. Same thing Mike Tomlin, you guys win and you're in. So keep it simple with them.
Kansas City can lose and still make it to the postseason. There's a flag at the line of scrimmage. Jay Howard jumping early.
Encroachment. Defense. Number 96. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Third penalty of the day against the Chiefs.
Well, Mike Tomlin talked to us about Mike Adams coming in and playing some tight end because they, without Spaeth, they need to use that extra tackle as the tight end, and he comes on the field in this situation, which obviously gives the appearance to the defense that it'll be a run.
1st and 5. Bell dancing inside the 5 to the 4. And the ball carrier.
Don't think it's quite enough to get a first down, but with that penalty now, it gives them second and less than 1, it appears. This would be the down if you're the Steelers and you want to do a play-action pass, because you know on third down you've only got less than a yard to go. Go ahead and get a play-action pass, get a rollout, get a fake, something like that, knowing you have that extra down.
Fair, 50. Hey, not even Mike.
2nd and 1. Throwing it this side of the field, incomplete. Antonio Brown, the intended receiver, covered by Sean Smith.
Well, they did just that. The Steelers decided to take the one-on-one matchup to Antonio Brown. It appears the Chiefs even went that play with only 10 defenders on the field. That's what's going to make it worse for the Steelers when they realize that they weren't able to take advantage with them when they had a one-man advantage.
That ball went right past Sean Smith. 3rd and 1 now.
All right, 53. 90.
Roethlisberger goes with Bell, and Bell pushing his way. And right at that first down marker, let's see where they spot it. Looks like he has enough, Trent.
Yeah, it appears that he does that extra push that he had using his legs. Looks like that got him past the first down marker.
So it is 1st and goal from just inside the 4-yard line.
Well, they're taking Adams out. They're taking out that extra offensive lineman they're using as a tight end and putting another receiver in. So they're going to spread them out. I wouldn't be surprised they spread them out here to try and run it inside. Just by getting the smaller bodies in there, it thins things out along the front line.
Bell already has 1 rushing touchdown. Roethlisberger brings it down, now throws, touchdown!
And that's what he does so well, is he extends plays. He's been doing it his entire career. We talked earlier today about you need to attack his arm.
And Ben comes out of there with a limp.
He takes a shot here at the end of the play. Almost looks like he comes up wobbling, so I don't think it's on that initial hit. I think it's the first time the defender goes running by him.
Like that whiplash
with the kick.
right there. That leg whip.
Vance Walker, it almost looks like a hyperextended his knee a little bit. Feels a little better when you throw a touchdown.
Squeezing for the extra point, and it is good. So with 34 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter, Roethlisberger to Antonio Brown for the touchdown, and the Steelers extend their lead, get a little closer to the postseason, 17-6.
Keep an eye on Vance Walker on this play. This is the touchdown play. Roethlisberger throws to Antonio Brown, but as Walker's coming up the field, it looks like he sticks his leg out in a tripping motion, and that's what causes Ben Roethlisberger's knee to hyperextend as he stays on the ground. He has been taken from the field. He was able to walk off the field on his own, but he has left the field.
Meanwhile, Gradkowski, the backup quarterback, getting loose on the sideline. DeAnthony Thomas will run this one out from about 8 yards deep. Hit at the 15, down at the 17. We go down to Evan Washburn. Evan.
Well, guys, and Trent, as you described, he took that shot and he did head immediately to the locker room. Now, there was an obvious limp, but he did walk off on his own power. He shook hands, high-fived with a bunch of the guys, walked into the locker room. No official word from the Steelers yet on what leg and what the injury is. As soon as I get that, I will let you know.
Meanwhile, Bruce Gradkowski, the 9th-year quarterback out of Toledo, getting loose. Well, we were just talking about how Ben has managed to stay relatively healthy all season long.
Well, you're not trying to blame me for that, are you?
No.
Okay, yes. no jinx on my part.
Half a minute to play. This is Jamal Charles, and Charles wrapped up before he can reach the 20-yard line. A reminder, tomorrow on CBS, 'tis the season for a holiday episode of NCIS Los Angeles. Join in the fun tomorrow at 10/9 Central, only CBS. Meanwhile, we wind our way down to the end of the 3rd quarter. Playoff football is in the air. 17-6. Pittsburgh, we're back after this message and a word from your local station. This is the NFL on CBS. Ben Roethlisberger working his way back onto the field. From the locker room as we welcome you back to Pittsburgh for the start of the fourth quarter. Our producer Bob Monsbach, our director Suzanne Smith, Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, Evan Washburn, and the rest of our crew. Merry Christmas, everybody. We work our way towards Christmas Day. 2nd and 7 as we start the fourth for Kansas City. Alex Smith. But unload deep. And that is incomplete.
Smith's pass incomplete. Intended for Wilson.
Anytime the Chiefs have tried pushing the ball up the field, the Steelers have been able to apply pressure to Alex Smith so he doesn't get comfortable standing back in the pocket as we see Jamal Charles slow getting up.
Boy, he has taken a beating. The word from the Steelers sideline is that Ben Roethlisberger suffered a slight injury to his right knee. His return is probable. Roethlisberger 15 of 21 for 193 yards and a touchdown today. Meanwhile, for Alex Smith and the Chiefs, 3rd and 7. That's DeAnthony Thomas in motion. Smith, quick pass to Niall Davis, and Davis out to about the 29-yard line, and that's enough for a first down.
That's one way to create space as you get guys spread away from the formation. You leave guys on an island across the board, and then that's up to Alex Smith to pick which matchup he likes best.
You look at the numbers on the day, the Chiefs have moved the ball very well, just haven't been very productive in the red zone.
Red zone production has been down, and if you look at the third quarter, they really weren't able to stay on the field as well as they did in the first half.
Alex Smith under pressure, and he goes down. Jason Worilds, Cameron Hayward. Fifth sack of the day by the Steelers.
Want you to keep an eye right here. Ryan Harris on the outside, the right tackle for the Chiefs, jumps to the outside and gets beat to the inside. Anytime as an offensive tackle you get beat to the inside, that makes it hard on your quarterback to be able to escape.
2nd and 17 now. Smith throwing it outside, and that's going nowhere. Complete to Anthony Fasano, the tight end, but hit immediately out there by Antoine Blake.
And that's great coverage down the field by the Steelers secondary. Nowhere for Alex Smith to go with the football, and as the pressure is coming in around him as he slides up in the pocket, just has to dump it off to Fasano. Now on 3rd down, you have to remember earlier in the game when they had a 3rd and long, just like this situation, the Steelers brought pressure, left man-to-man on the outside, and the Chiefs were able to take advantage of Antoine Blake. This time, I anticipate them rushing 3, maybe 4, but dropping a bunch of bodies into coverage and then rallying up and trying to make the tackle.
Smith throwing this side, complete and going nowhere. The pass caught by Travis Kelce, but Lawrence Timmons was right there. And here's a late penalty flag.
They're pointing towards the Steelers. I don't know if they're going to call him for taunting. It was so far after the play.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, taunting, defense, number 22. That's a 15-yard penalty from the dead ball spot. Automatic first down.
I would think Mike Tomlin might address that at some point.
Yeah, William Gay is pleading his case to the official. Now they're all pleading for the official to turn around and look at the scoreboard and watch the replay. Right there is William Gay, and that's who the penalty is ultimately going to be called on.
You know, it's not all that excessive, but it's not necessary either. First down Chiefs, Alex Smith. On the move, we got a penalty marker in the middle of the field, and Smith runs out of bounds just across midfield.
They're either going to get the Steelers for an illegal contact down the field or hold down the field, but either way, the Chiefs will decline it and take the first down run by Alex Smith.
You saw a very unhappy Mike Tomlin on the sideline.
Holding. Defense, number 51. 5 yards from the end of the run. First down.
Sean Spence guilty, and you see the Steelers now shooting themselves first in one foot and then the other.
This is who they're going to call on the hold penalty right here. He's going to run out and get contact as the receiver is running up the field. You just see him reach out and grab him when he makes that inside route.
Jamal Charles back into the backfield. Smith looks this way. Jamal Charles. 40, 35, 30, down to the 28-yard line. Wants a penalty marker for that hit when he was on the ground. None flying right now.
Well, now this is where the Steelers need to respond with what's going on the field. They can be as mad as they want about that call on third down, about the penalty to William Gay, but they've got to let that go. At this point in time, they've got to let it go and move on to getting a stop here by Kansas City, who has now moved into field goal range already.
Chiefs at the Pittsburgh 28. Smith, incomplete. Fasano double covered down the middle of the field. It'll be 2nd and 10.
That just didn't look right to me. I don't know why you would have Fasano and Kelsey that close to each other down the middle of the field. You need to create some space. If you're trying to do a double vertical, you've got to have more separation between the two vertical routes. The safety could cover both guys up the field.
Anthony Thomas cut down at the 25-yard line. Nice play by Cameron Hayward, who's played a heck of a game.
They tried doing a quick fake here. You're going to watch here. He's not going to fight. He's not going to bite on the fake over to the right. Hayward just comes over and he's able to make the tackle. He didn't fall for the pump fake by Alex Smith, and if he doesn't make that tackle, that's definitely going to be a first down, if not inside the 10.
3rd and 7, Trent. Are you in 4-down territory yet, or would you take the field goal if you're the Chiefs?
Well, I think because it's still a 2-possession game, you've got to take the points at this time.
We'll see if it comes to that. Alex Smith throwing, crossing pattern, incomplete. At the 25-yard line, came close to being picked off by Timmons.
This nearly becomes disaster as Anthony Thomas is trying to catch it and run with it before he secures the catch. But the Chiefs, this is the right decision. You have to get the points, make it an 8-point game, which ultimately you can get with a touchdown and 2-point conversion.
43-yard attempt upcoming from Cairo Santos. He's been good from 35 and from 25. Play clock down to 2, down to 1. Got the snap away, got the kick away, and it looks good. 10:19 to play in the 4th. It's an 8-point game. 17-9 Steelers. With a little help from the Steeler defense, Kansas City goes 58 yards in 12 plays in 5 minutes and 14 seconds. The field goal closes the gap to 8. 17-9 Steelers, 10:18 to play here in the 4th.
Well, another long drive for the Chiefs. Using up clock, using up plays, getting first downs, but only coming away with 3 again.
Marcus Wheaton, 2 yards deep in the end zone. 20. And out to the 25-yard line. That is where the Steeler offense will go back to work with Ben Roethlisberger after this.
on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. Get the good more this holiday season with the best deals on the best tech. Zales. Give her dazzling gifts from Zales, the Diamond Store. Let love shine. And by the Lincoln Wishlist event. Visit your Lincoln showroom today.
It is the holiday season. 17-9 Steelers. 10-13 to play here in the fourth quarter. Roethlisberger at quarterback as the Steelers begin at their own 25-yard line. This is Bell for a couple. Let's go down to Evan.
Well, Greg, Ben Roethlisberger back on the field after leaving the field for a brief period of time with that right knee injury. Now, I watched him during that Chief offensive series. It doesn't appear to be a brace or any extra padding on that right knee. He did test the flexion of it. He spent most of his time near the heater trying to stay warm, but as you can see, he's back out on the field after leaving the field briefly with that right knee injury.
All right, Evan, thank you. You think Ben had to fight Evan for that spot next to the heater?
I don't think the players are letting Evan anywhere near that heated bench.
2nd and 7. Bell to the 31.
Well, and I think it's important for the Steelers now to pick up a first down, use up some clock, get that time of possession. You know, that's what they, coming into this game, lead the National Football League in time of possession. And so far today, the Chiefs have done a good job with their ball control. It just they haven't converted it into points. So it's important for the Steelers to get things going as far as a first down is concerned here, so they don't give the ball right back to the Chiefs.
Meanwhile, for the Kansas City cause, a defensive stand here would be nice. 3rd and 4. Roethlisberger going to throw the quick slant. First down and more. Antonio Brown to the 45 and a first down.
They took advantage. Antonio Brown matched up in the slot on Chris Owens. Just a quick little slant route, just a quick move to the outside, cross his face. Ben Roethlisberger with an accurate throw.
31 consecutive games with at least 5 catches and 50 receiving yards. Brown 7 for 72 on the day. He is some athlete.
You know, when you talk to everybody within the Steelers and they say what a great work ethic it is, how he prepares every week.
This is Martavis Bryant trying to turn the corner, and the Chiefs defense closes on him. Let's go back to that hit that Ben Roethlisberger took while throwing a touchdown pass.
Well, here's Vance Walker as the defensive lineman that's going to come upfield, and just keep an eye on Walker's right leg as he sticks it out. Appears to almost try and trip Ben Roethlisberger, and that's what causes, watch Roethlisberger's right knee as it hyperextends a little bit before throwing that touchdown.
Roethlisberger waving Marcus Wheaton over to the other side. 2nd and 10. What is that? Bell across midfield to the 48-yard line. Let's check into New York once again. James Brown at the studios in New York.
All right, coming up next here on CBS, it'll be Andrew Luck and the Colts taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Andrew Luck, 3rd-year quarterback for the Colts, who is definitely headed for elite status. Hey, give Tony Romo some credit, playing outstanding football this year. That matchup coming up next here on CBS. Back to Greg Gumbel.
JB, I always give Tony Romo credit. I don't think he gets enough for what he can do. Boy, no points to be scored in that game, are there? Andrew Luck against Tony Romo. 3rd and 3. Roethlisberger down the near sideline, incomplete, and a penalty flag is thrown. Tamba Ali looked to be the one to jump, and basically Roethlisberger had a free play.
Well, the problem was that about half the Chiefs stopped playing once they saw the offsides call, and smart thing by the Steelers to continue playing.
Defense on the play. Offside. Number 91 is declined. Pass interference. That could be accepted. Automatic first down if it's spotted the foul.
Tamba Ali's the one that's going to get called with jumping off sides. He's right here in the screen. He jumps, but watch the Chiefs defenders. How a lot of them just stand up and they stop playing, but Antonio Brown and Ben Roethlisberger don't stop, and that's what ultimately is called the pass interference on Fleming.
So Pittsburgh now with the ball at the 24 of the Kansas City Chiefs.
White 80! White side!
Bell. To about the 21.
Well, they just want to continue to use up clock. With an 8-point lead, even a field goal helps them here from the standpoint of you're using up clock, you're using up time for the Kansas City Chief offense to get back out there as we're approaching 6 minutes left in the game.
And the field goal would make it a 2-score game.
Correct. Unless we get some craziness like last night, that San Diego game, right?
Hey, let the slow.
Lose what's that?
Bell. Back to the line of scrimmage and no more. Two of the premier running backs in the league today, Jamal Charles, Le'Veon Bell.
Both defenses have been dialed in on stopping these two today, as you see from a yardage standpoint, production standpoint, but they've been, I know for the Steelers, they've used Le'Veon as a decoy to draw the attention of the defense, and that's what's really opened up Heath Miller, 5 catches, 55 yards. Most of those are in the middle of the field after the play fake to Bell.
If you're the Chiefs, time for a defensive stop right here again. 3rd and 7. Roethlisberger under pressure over the middle. Oh, what a grab made by Heath Miller over the middle. First down to the Kansas City 11.
Well, and Heath Miller, he's the second one in here. They're gonna combination this where they change the release. See how he jumps to the outside and then works across Coleman's face. Coleman was asking for a little push off at the top of the route. Roethlisberger with time sliding in the pocket, able to hit him for the first down. And as you said, Greg, that was a tremendous catch by Heath Miller, all fingertips.
Yeah, 90. Hey, y'all going 90?
So the Steelers trying to give themselves a little breathing room. Bell. We've talked about that patience he has as a running back. You saw it right there.
It's almost like this little stutter step, but the stutter step is almost like a glide in the air as the Chiefs take a timeout trying to preserve as much time as they can.
So the Chiefs taking their first time out here in the second half. They have 2 remaining, and Pittsburgh has 1. And Andy Reid beginning to stalk the sideline. Remember, Kansas City loss doesn't eliminate them yet, but it doesn't do them any favors either. You look at the AFC playoff picture. Pittsburgh, a win here today, and they're in the postseason for the first time since 2011.
When you see the two teams back-to-back there with Kansas City highlighted, San Diego with a huge come-from-behind win last night to get to 9-6. Kansas City and San Diego face off against each other next week.
How about Baltimore with so much on the line, losing 19-7 at Houston?
Well, Houston still has some life in the playoff picture as well, so they're fighting for it down there.
Case Keenum at quarterback for the Texans. 2nd and 7. Play fake. Roethlisberger, all kinds of time, directing traffic, throwing incomplete in the end zone. Michael Palmer, the number 3 tight end, and Ben kind of feels like he underthrew him.
Well, I think what they're ideally trying to do, here he is up at the top of the screen, Palmer. He's trying to get him to come out of the route and go to the back, and they're ultimately what you can't see in the flat there is Heath Miller's out in the flat matched up on Tamba Ali, so I think that's where Ben was initially trying to go, but once he started to scramble a little bit, Palmer worked his way open, and you can see Ben yanked it a little bit to the ground.
Right by each other.
3rd and 7. They can get a first down without getting a touchdown. Quick pass to the 5, and Heath Miller stretching to the 4, but that won't be enough for a first down. And we get another timeout called on the field. Kansas City stops the clock with 4:07 to play.
Here we go.
Coming up next, two of the fine right arms in the National Football League. Andrew Luck of the Colts, Tony Romo of the Dallas Cowboys. Some of you will see the Bills and the Raiders. And running back DeMarco Murray is active today despite that surgery for the broken hand.
Tell you what, Greg, when I heard that, I was amazed by the fact they said he had the surgery on Monday and then he was turned around and he was at practice on Wednesday. So that tells you the time of year that it is and how important it is to DeMarco Murray and the Cowboys to have him on the field.
I'd still be in the hospital. Suijam from 23 yards out. Kick is on its way and it is good. And we've got some rough stuff after the kick. Steelers reacting very negatively to the rough treatment, and a helmet goes flying. Penalty markers are flying.
Well, that just became an expensive Christmas for Foster for the Steelers. He's the one that launched one of the helmets of the Kansas City Chiefs. It looks like Kevin Vickerson's helmet. Usually those FedEx packages come in on a Wednesday, so.
You know, you sound like you've gotten one or two here and there.
I said, that's always the thing. You come into the locker room on a Wednesday, you look around everybody's stool or chairs at their lockers, you're like, okay, who has the FedEx packages? So
that's what started it. Martin and number 73, Ramon Foster.
The field goal is good. After the field goal, personal foul, unnecessary roughness by the offense. Number 73. That 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff. Timeout.
So Foster is guilty of the penalty. 4:04 to play. 20-9. Pittsburgh. Any great feelings between these two teams. A year ago, Andy Reid rested his starters in a Week 17 match against the Chargers. Chiefs have clinched a playoff berth, but a win over the Chargers would have put the Steelers in. Ryan Succop missed a game-winning field goal attempt at the end of regulation. Nick Novak gave the Chargers the win with a 36-yarder in overtime, and the Steelers were not at all pleased that they had to stay home. So the Steelers looking to clinch a playoff berth if they still hold the lead with 4:04 to play. Now, short kick. Grab by Anthony Sherman, and Sherman brings it back to midfield. So Alex Smith will have pretty good starting position, very good starting position with 4 minutes flat on the clock.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Subway Restaurants. Subway is saying thanks this season with $2 subs. And by Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL.
As we welcome you back to Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, the Green Bay Packers have knocked off Tampa Bay by a score of 20-3. And the Packers have clinched a playoff spot with that victory. Pittsburgh trying to do the same with a win here today. Alex Smith and the Chiefs at the 50-yard line. Smith is trying to spin out of trouble, trying to throw it ahead, and that ball is loose, and let's see what it's ruled.
They're ultimately going to rule it's an incomplete pass, I would think. It looks like he was trying to shuffle it.
It is an incomplete pass. Maybe the ugliest pass of Alex Smith's career.
The only thing uglier is if he would have switched it to his left hand and tried doing like a hook shot or something.
So after all of that, it's 2nd and 10. Smith over the middle, that's complete to Jason Avant, and he's about 1.5 yards short of a first down, so it'll be 3rd and short. Clock continues to move, 3:35 and counting.
Well, they have to continue with this up-tempo, 2-minute tempo. Only 1 timeout remaining and 2 scores they need.
Over the middle, that's complete again. Just inside the 35 to Avant once again. So that's a first down, but the clock continues to move, coming up on 3 minutes to play.
When I think the Steelers are content with letting him catch the ball in the middle of the field, short rally, keep him in bounds, and let the clock wind.
Smith underneath. Charles. And Charles diving inside the 25 to the 22. Chiefs hustle to the line.
They'll continue to take chunks here. The way the Steelers are playing defense, they're not going to take a shot to the end zone. They're going to continue to work the underneath stuff, just trying to get in position and ultimately get the score.
Smith throwing, tipped in the air and complete. And that'll stop the clock at 2:35. You know, since we're here in Pittsburgh, see what happens when the mayor of Pittsburgh goes undercover, works right alongside members of his own community. A new undercover boss tonight only, CBS featuring Pittsburgh Mayor Bill Peduto.
That could get interesting, Greg. That could get interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Is what we're going around town checking up on everybody.
Second and 10. Smith throwing this side of the field incomplete. Travis Kelce, the nearest Kansas City receiver.
Well, that time they tried stretching in the end zone. The two inside receivers working corner routes, getting into some depth, and the outside guys hanging tight near the line of scrimmage. But now with third down, you have to get a chunk of yardage here. Get it down inside the 10-yard line.
With 29 completions today, Alex Smith has tied a career high.
It's definitely four-down territory, but you have to start getting some chunks here.
Smith, complete. Kelce, inside the 15 to the 13. 2:20. We're coming up on the 2-minute warning.
They're giving them the first down so they can continue to move.
So Smith will try to get a snap in before the 2-minute warning hits. Pulls it down, trips and falls. Ball is loose, but he will be ruled down by contact. Stumbles, can't regain his balance, goes down on the field, hit from behind. 1:56 to play. Take a look at this last play, Trent.
Well, Alex Smith is stumbling and trips over his own guy, and as he's trying to extend now, it appears that he's trying to get back up, but he's going to have contact made while that right knee. Tuitt makes contact with him when that right knee is on the ground, so that's why the officials aren't reviewing it.
New England Patriots edge the Jets 17-16 and clinch a first-round bye. Brady and company will have a week to rest. Second and 14. Smith, and right through the hands of Jamal Charles out of the backfield. Third and 14.
If you go back to the last play, if they stay in this same formation, they had Dwayne Bowe matched one-on-one on Blake. That's who they've taken advantage of from a corner standpoint, is going after Antoine Blake. And that's what they'll have again here. To the top of your screen, you're going to see Dwayne Bowe matched up one-on-one on Blake.
Smith underneath. Charles, 10-5 to the 4. Minute 45 and the clock is moving. And Andy Reid wants a timeout. Minute 40 to play. Andy Reid and the Chiefs not dead yet. That is Kairos Santos, who is on for the field goal attempt here on fourth down.
Well, this is the smart decision. It's a two-possession game. You've got to get a field goal, and you've also got to get a touchdown with a two-point conversion. So take the points now. Give yourself or leave yourself some time if you do get the onside kick to be able to go down and give yourself a little bit of time to score.
They ran a fake field goal earlier. Don't think you see that now. It's from 23 yards out. Santos is good. So a minute 37 to play. 20-12 Pittsburgh.
And Greg, that's been the story of the day. The Chiefs have had 4 possessions in the red zone. They've only gotten 3 field goals out of those 4 possessions.
And you know, early on in the day, we started talking about how it's been the Pittsburgh offense that's garnered the most attention this season rather than their defense. Defense has stood up pretty well today.
They have. They performed very well, and coming into this game, you know, Mike Tomlin mentioned the fact that the Chiefs are number 2 in the National Football League in red zone efficiency and scoring touchdowns. And he had a game plan in mind. He had a mindset coming in that's where they're going to have to be productive, and that's what he did.
Okay, so special teams come to the fore once again, don't they, right here?
Yep, Dave Tobe, he's the Kansas City Chiefs special teams coach, going up against Danny Smith, the special teams coach of the Steelers. And you've got to do the onside kick. You've got to have something in mind. A lot of times it's just the bounce of the ball. Does your kicker get that right bounce for your guy to be able to get up and get it?
Teams practice this how much during their week?
Oh, they practice it multiple times every week, just for this specific scenario. You change up different guys on the front line. Okay, the guys on the line that are going to be your blockers, your guys in your line that are going to be your hands. You can see the side of the field that it appears the Chiefs will be kicking the ball to. It appears this side of the field is where the Chiefs are going to be kicking the ball to. Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown, the 2 best offensive weapons that the Steelers have. Those are the guys they have in position to catch the football.
And we get a whistle, and Pittsburgh calls a timeout. So Pittsburgh uses its 3rd and final timeout here in the second half. And once again, the AFC playoff picture. New England has clinched a first-round bye. Indianapolis about to take on the Dallas Cowboys. Baltimore losing at Houston 22-7, but much of the fourth quarter still to be played. As we said, Indy and Dallas still to come, or Buffalo at Oakland.
Well, and that also puts some more importance on that game tomorrow night with Denver and Cincinnati, because Pittsburgh ends up holding on here. That's an important game for Cincinnati. And now with New England winning, Denver needs to win to keep pace for that home field throughout. So there's still a lot of good football to go. But you can see the Steelers are lined up in the same look they were the last time. Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell are going to be the 2 guys, the hands guys. And then this is your wall that you want that's going to be blocking. All of these guys are going to be coming running down here, trying to clear it out and get to the football.
So let's see if the kick comes our way. This side of the field. Nope, that way. Grabbed by the Steelers, Will Johnson.
And that was a smart decision by Will Johnson. A lot of times those guys are taught just to go up and make the hit and let the second row of guys catch the ball, but he recognized that ball wasn't kicked very well, and the way that the bounce was happening, he might as well just go ahead and secure the football. He's right here. These guys are normally coming up to block, but he recognizes that the ball takes a crazy hop. Don't let it get that extra hop before it gets to Le'Veon Bell or Antonio Brown. Go ahead and secure it. Good decision by Johnson, noticing the flight of the ball.
Wasn't a really good kick by Santos.
It wasn't. It wasn't. You know, you're looking for that short. You're looking for one hop and then a short hop, and it never got to the point where it was a short hop. So the Steelers can just take a knee.
Pittsburgh Steelers on their way to the postseason. As of right now, giving Pittsburgh the victory, 10-5, and they are in the wild card at least. And Baltimore now losing 25-7 at Houston with about 10 minutes to play in that game. Kansas City can still make the postseason, but there's an awful lot that needs to happen. They need to beat San Diego next week. Baltimore losing today is part of it. Baltimore will also have to lose next week against Cleveland. Pittsburgh still very much in contention for the AFC North Championship. They will play Cincinnati next week, and a victory against the Bengals will give Pittsburgh the AFC North title. And it's all smiles on the Pittsburgh sideline. That'll do it. The Steelers on their way to the postseason, 20-12 over the Kansas City Chiefs. Coming up next, the Indianapolis Colts in Dallas to take on the Cowboys, or Buffalo and Oakland. Hard-fought game. Two quarterbacks played well. Andy Reid and Mike Tomlin, two good friends, congratulating each other. The Steelers are in. The Chiefs are still alive, but barely. For Trent Green, Evan Washburn, and for all of us here at CBS in Pittsburgh, Greg Gumbel. Let's take you to New York and James Brown.